All right, greetings everyone. Let's check if the audio is working fine and you can see the picture. Greetings. Just type 1 in the chat box so that I would make sure that everything is all right and everything is tuned well. Nice. So clearly we are all set and we will start in 2 minutes, I think. So just let's wait for the rest to join the room. Meanwhile, tell me, how is your trading going? How is your mood today? And where are you from? What is your experience in automated trading? For how long you've been using Bitsgap bots, or maybe you are newcomers and this is going to be your first webcast. Refresh the page once again, and we will start in 1 minute. So yeah, before we start, tell me about your experience. I just want to know how many of you are newcomers and this is your first time attending the webinar from Bitsgap. Just type in the chat box if you are a newcomer. Just type newcomer or something else. Maybe you can type 3, for instance, if this is the first time attending the webcast. In any case, it's about time to start, and today is our new webcast about the automated trading strategies at Bitsgap. So for those of you who are newcomers, you will get a bunch of useful information about automated trading and how efficient they can be and how they can boost your financial results already today. So you basically can start automated trading during the webinar to see your first results. And yeah, for those of you who don't know, my name is Dmitry. I am the portfolio manager, trader, and together with Bitsgap, we are working on the automated trading optimization so that you guys will be able to achieve higher financial returns. So this is our agenda for today. We will go through the optimal strategies and settings for Classic and SBot. So as of today, we have 2 main bots, the Classic one and the SBot. And recently we've united the scalper, that was our 3rd bot, but it is now united into the SBot, so we only have 2 bots. So the SBot now has all of the features that the 3rd bot had, the scalper, just to make it easy for you, convenient. I will go through some use cases and practical tips that I've collected for you throughout the whole period since the first webcast ever presented to you. So that was about, I think, 2 or 3 months ago. Not sure about. The demo trading to discover strategies. So this is the feature that we have at Bitsgap, which allows traders and investors, before risking any real money, to discover and to test, to try their strategies using absolutely risk-free trading simulator. We simply call it demo trading, or you might know this as paper trade. That's pretty much the same. Demo trading, paper trade. In any case, a risk-free trading simulator to test strategies and to discover your own strategies. Risk management in automated trading. So we will go through some features that we have at Bitsgap, which allow you to minimize your loss in case of the falling market. And we also have some built-in algorithms to secure your trading, for instance, from extreme pumps and dumps. So yeah, we have this feature, automated. And we have backtesting to validate and generate trade ideas. That's another unique feature that we have here. It is fully optimized and configured in comparison with other platforms. So using backtest, you can generate trade ideas, and I will show you exactly how to do this. Profit maximization on the sideways and uptrend. So I will provide you with some practical tips and clues on how to lead bots and demonstrate to you why with automated trading that we've developed at Bitsgap, you can achieve higher returns on the sideways and uptrend. So I will show you some real examples. Even some of my active trades that I currently have at Bitsgap, I will show you the effect real life. So loss minimization on the downtrend, so that's the feature that we have to minimize the loss in case of the falling market, and I will show you examples. And one of the confusing topics, investment change versus the bot profit. So these are the terms that we've created, and for some traders, even experienced, who've been trading at Bitsgap for quite a long time, investment change and bot profit is still quite confusing. So I will go through, demonstrate to you how these metrics are calculated and what makes them different and what unites them. So now let's start, and we will start with a quick explanation of what high frequency trading is all about, especially for those who are completely... Okay, so it seems like that we've just been disconnected. Let's check if everything should be back in the game. So yeah, I see that everything is fine now. Okay, so once again, you have a portfolio, all right, of coins. You just bought it at some time, back in some time, and now you're doing nothing about them. So using automated trading, you let the bot to use these coins to generate extra profits for you in a quote currency. So here's the example. That's Zilliqa trading to USDT, and you see that in this case the base currency is Zilliqa. So the bot is going to use your Zilliqa from your portfolio to generate profits in the quote currency, and in this case the quote currency is USDT. All right, and you can clearly see the amount of trades that the bot managed to execute. So that's 6,622 transactions in total, and that's for the period of only 5 days. Well, actually 6 days almost. So if we divide transactions by the elapsed time, we will get 46 trades per hour. That's an insane speed, all right? So manually, you wouldn't be able to achieve that amount of trade executions per hour without any rest, all right? So the biggest advantage, what makes automated trading so unique, is that it allows you to save your time. You don't have to stay in front of the computer 24/7. So only what you have to do is to, from some time, maybe a couple of times per week, just to monitor what is going on with your active bots, because they will do the job for you. They will find these opportunities to buy low and sell high, because they have this built-in algorithm to execute trades. Each time they spot opportunities to buy low and sell high. So in this case, the profit generated using your Zilliqa is in the quote currency USDT, and here in the bot profit section we can see the profit generated throughout this period. So since the inception, the investment was around $4,000, and throughout this period we've managed to make $215. So not only we've generated this added value in USDT, so not only we've generated profits in the quote currency, but the value of Zilliqa has also appreciated. So that's going to be another added value change, as we call it. And the simple logic is implemented in all of our bots. It's the grid mechanism. So the idea is to plot sell orders, and here they are represented by the sell side, these red lines. These are sell orders, sell limit orders. And we have the buy zone, which is represented by these green lines, and these are buy limit orders in this case. So in order to sell something, you must possess it, all right? And in this example, we have Cardano trading to USDT. So in order to initiate this bot, all right, you must have enough of the Cardano so that the bot would be able to place all of these sell limit orders to distribute your base currency proportionately to sell it later. And of course, you must have the quote currency to which the base currency is trading, so that if the price is going to fall, the bot will buy the base currency in this case. And another concept to understand here is the trading range, which is defined the upper limit price and lower limit price. So as far as the price stays within this trading range, the bot will be able to execute trades. There are some exceptions, and we will go through this a little bit later. But stay with me. So once again, the idea is that we have the trading range and we plot limit orders. And for the sake of this example, we have 8 grid levels, as we call them, but you can also call them just limit orders. That's pretty much the same. But since the concept itself is called grid mechanism, so we call all of these limit orders grids. So here we have 8 grid levels for sell limit orders and for buy limit orders. So now monitor what is going to happen. The price is moving downwards and it has eventually triggered the first buy limit order, as you can clearly see here. So that means that the bot will now execute the trade. So it is going to use Ethereum, the quote currency, to buy the base currency, in this case BNB. As soon as it buys, a new sell limit order will be placed right above that level that was just executed. Maintaining, another term for you now to understand, is the grid spacing. So the space between your grid levels is called grid spacing. And the bot always maintains this grid spacing. That's the algorithm it follows, all right? And you can actually adjust the grid spacing, and I will show you this. And just now, stay with me. You see that now eventually the price has moved upwards and it has triggered this sell limit order. So that means the bot will now sell BNB and we will get the quote currency, Ethereum. And then eventually the bot will place new buy limit order. Right after the sell limit was executed, a new buy limit order is placed below this level, like this. So the idea is that it is constantly in the market. Each time it sells, it will plot a new buy limit order, and each time it buys, it will place a new sell limit order. As simple as that, as far as the price stays within the trading range. So that's the idea of the grid mechanism. And that is how, like in this example, we have ION trading to USDT. The total investment is 600 USDT, and we have in total 47 grid levels. But just for the sake of the example, I plotted some of them, not all of them. Just keep in mind that there are 47, so lines should be also distributed above this but for the sake of the example, I'm just going to use a few ones. And you will be able always to find these open orders. So you will know exactly at which price the bot will sell a certain amount of base currency and at which price it will buy a certain amount of the base currency. So each time it executes a trade, each time it buys low and then sells high, you get a profit. So these profits, when you sum them up, will result in quite decent returns. Now let's go to the Bitsgap page, to the bot section, and here what we see is that on the left side we have a chart which we can easily zoom out and zoom in any direction we want. And below I have some active bots currently trading for me. So some of them were executed on OKEx exchange, Binance, and here is the specification which bot was executed. In this case, the SBot, and this one is the classic one. And this T stands for the features that we have. That's the trading app, which I will explain to you in 15 minutes. As of now, you see that we have active bots, we have the total investment distributed, allocated to each of the active bot. So for instance, LRC trading to USDT, you see that since the inception, that was 6 days ago, it has managed to make, so the total return on investment is 4.26%, all right? So that basically happened on the sideways market over here. And I also have some other bots that are currently trading in the negative zone. Maybe I will use this one. So you see that I have LTC. So that was the point of the inception, 18th of June, that point, that price. And now it is trading below. So if I wouldn't execute the bot, if I would simply hodl this cryptocurrency, my return would be, let's check this out, it would be minus 3%. But with automation, my return on investment is only minus 2%, which is less than what you would get if you would simply hodl this coin. That's because the bot has been trading for me during this period, and it was looking for these opportunities to buy low and sell high. And as it successfully executed these trades and generated these proportionate profits for me, like you see in this example, these profits, they offset the negative value change as the price of the base currency, in this case LTC, was falling. So once again, if you would simply hodl this coin down to current price, you would be in a -3 return on investment zone. But with automated trading, and as we allow the bot to generate profits for us, as we allow the bot to use LTC to generate profits in BTC, we are only -2%. And on the right side, we have a panel to launch the bot. We have a simple configuration, and we have the advanced one. But I will go through the advanced one because that's pretty much what you need, as it has all of the features which I will cover today. So here you can choose the strategy, same as in the simple configuration. So that's the SBot, which is the highest frequency trading bot that we have. And the grid spacing for the bot is reduced down to 0.01%. So if let's say I choose Binance here, exchange, and I'm gonna choose from the right panel below here, I have some strategies. So let's say, no, actually I'm gonna use this one. Let's say I want to trade ADA to USDT. So let's make it narrow. The trading range, let's make it narrow. Simply by dragging the line, I can adjust the lower limit price and the upper limit price to make my trading range as narrow as I want, but I can also make it wide enough so I can manipulate it in any direction. So let's say I want to have a wider sell zone and I want to have a narrow buy zone. You can easily adjust in any way you want. Maybe you want to have a wide buy zone, whereas narrow sell zone. As simple as that. And notice that when I click on the cryptocurrency pair, so let's say ARA to USDC, the system automatically plots the trading range, which you can then adjust. Let's say you want your lower limit price to be at 0.06, so here we go. And if you want to have upper limit price higher, you can also manually adjust it. But for your convenience, just to spend less time on that, I recommend dragging the lower and upper limit price on the chart, as what I'm currently doing. Here you can also choose the grid quantity. So notice that the more grids, narrow is your grid spacing becomes. Because you are trying to plot as many grid levels within a limited trading range. So logically, the more grid levels you place, the narrower the space between them becomes. And the narrower the space between your grid levels becomes, the more opportunities for the bot you provide so that it would be able to buy low and sell high. You see? So on this candle, on this falling candle, notice how many grid levels the bot has plotted. So that's the amount of trades it would have executed, all right? Whereas if you place only, let's say, 10 grid levels, notice that you would only have 1, 2. So that would be only 2 trade executions. So when you have as many grid levels as possible, and the possibility is defined by the technical specifications depending on the cryptocurrency exchange. So for Binance, you can have the grid spacing down to 0.01%, all right? And you can have up to 180 grid levels. What is really important here to understand is that each time the bot executes a trade, either it buys or it sells, you pay the fee, all right? So the exchange will always charge you a fee. And we've taken this into calculation, so that's already priced in the spacing. So when you have, like in this example, 0.06%, in reality the spacing is lower, but because you have to pay the fee, we have the spacing a bit higher. And when you click on your active bot, let's say LRC to USDT on the view button, here you have your completed orders, and you see that each time it executes a trade, you pay the fee. So that means your profit is net of all fees. So that's the pure profit, because it adjusts the fee that you pay. That's the another key feature that we have at Bitsgap, is that we take the fee into account and we take it into calculation. So the profit that you see the bot profit section is net of all fees. That's your pure profit, all right? And the fee is priced in the grid spacing, all right? So in reality, it's around, I don't actually remember the fee at Binance, but in reality, without the fee, your space would be 0.04%, something like that. But as we have to pay the fee for the buy and the sell order, so that means the fee is included in the grid spacing in this case. Here you can also define the investment that you want to allocate to this specific trading strategy. In this case, that's SBot for Cardano trading to USDT. So let's say you want to place only, you want to allocate, let's say, 1,000 of the USDT. But the system is telling me my balance, so I need to have at least that amount of USDT to start the bot. So I go and click on balance to check if that's true. And yeah, for some reason it's telling me that I'm not able, whereas I actually have this amount. That's strange. But but in any case, just imagine that you don't have that amount on your balance, where by clicking on adjust, you can have your grid amount reduced to the level which would allow you to launch the bot with 1,000 USDT. So I click on it, and now you see I have, instead of 170, I now have 84 grid levels. So with 84 grid levels, I can allocate 1,000 USDT to this strategy. Let's say I want to place 600. You see, I must now again adjust. So in this case, it's going to be 50. As simple as that. Let's just, in this example, execute the trade as narrow spacing as possible. And let's allocate 3,000. Let's make it up to 180, which is the maximum. So in this case, for this trading range, my minimum grid spacing is 0.05%. So when I click on Start, in case if I don't have Cardano on my balance right now, to execute this bot, it will suggest me to buy Cardano, and it will also define the required amount for the purchase, and it will recommend me to buy it at the current market price, just for me to save my time. But you can also buy this amount by clicking on the trading limit order to buy the required amount. So your preference over market buy order is because using a limit order you actually have to pay a lower fee, whereas when you want to execute the trade with the market order you have to pay a higher fee. So let's again use other USDT. I had 180, and I think my spacing was around here. Let's make it even narrow. So the reason why it asks me to have enough of the Cardano on my balance is because I have this sell side. So in order to place all of these sell limit orders, I must possess Cardano, all right? And in order to place, I must possess enough of the quote currency. And to see the exact amount that I need to execute this trade is here. So I must have that amount of Cardano, and I must have that amount of USDT, which in total is approximately around $206. Sorry, $2,600. And if I go to balance to see if I have Cardano, I will notice that I don't have Cardano on my balance right now. So that means I either have to to place the limit buy order using my trading account, or I can let the bot to buy the required amount of Cardano with the market order. So I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna click on yes. So you see it has filled the market buy, so it has successfully purchased a required amount of Cardano. And now our first trade, in just a split of a second, you see the market has moved a little bit downwards and it has triggered the first limit order. So you see the first completed order, buy order at this price, so as simple as that. And we can also see all of the open orders that the bot has successfully managed to place in the order book. And you can see all of these limit orders placed right here on the chart. So that's what we call a high frequency trading. And you see I have some bots that already executed 6,000 trades per 28 days, some less, some more. That depends on the market volatility. It depends on the market timing when you enter it, because when the market is moving upwards, it will most likely be volatile. Volatility is reduced. So these are the things you have to keep in mind. That is why returns can vary significantly depending on the cryptocurrency which you choose. And you see here on the right panel I have strategies. So these are recommended strategies based on monthly performance. So you see that at OKEX I have in the list of my top recommendations ORC, trading to BTC, INT, GNX, and some other cryptocurrencies which are based on the backtest results, which simply stands for the historic results. Throughout the last month, they were up by this percentage, and these are recommended strategies based on the risk to return ratio. So these are the cryptocurrencies that were most liquidly, they were most tradable and mostly liquid during the last month, and they have achieved highest returns. So that doesn't mean that past results they guarantee the future results. It doesn't mean that you will get the same return next month. No, these are just historic indicators for you to use, just to know that there are cryptocurrencies that are that volatile that they are able to achieve this insane returns, all right? And based on, if you choose Binance, you will get other recommended strategies. So you see that on Binance, Lend trading to USDT has demonstrated the highest return during the last month. And you can also sort them by weekly returns and by 3 days period. And you will sort them accordingly. Now let's move on. And now it's time to explain what makes investment change different from the bot profit. So when you say the investment change, in this case it's in the negative zone, so that means that your return on investment is now minus 0.7%. So you are down by that percentage from your allocated investment. All right. So simply to figure out how we calculate this, when you click on View, you see how many of the base currency is now active in your open orders and how many of the quote currency is now also active in this particular strategy. And when you calculate, in this case, you have to take the current price of BNB multiplied by the amount of BNBs currently in the open orders, so that's 15.68 BNB multiplied by the current price. So that was the price back at that time when I made this example. When you add later the amount of USDT, which is distributed by the limit orders, and then you add the bot profit, So the profit that the bot has managed to accumulate for you throughout this period of 3 days. And that's the current value of your investment, all right? So even though the bot profit is in the positive area, it has managed to make 0.27% in USDT, we are still in the negative return on investment zone. But as I already demonstrated to you, without automation, in case if you would simply hodl, your returns would be worse in case of a falling market. And here's the example. Once again, that's what I already demonstrated. Maybe I will use icon trading to BTC. So the current price is over here, and the point of inception was back at the beginning of the June. So if you would simply hodl this coin down to current price, that would be minus 3.7% of your investment change. But with automation, that's only minus 0.85% because we have the bot profit to offset this negative value change. All right. So here's the pure example for you how we minimize your losses in case of a falling market. You see, it was a falling market. Without automation, you would be in minus 3.7%, whereas with automation, that's only minus, well, almost 1%. So that's the triple effect. We have saved your investments. Basically, not we, but the bot has managed to compensate your losses as it has been trading throughout this period, and it has the bot profit to offset the negative value change. So that's the idea, what makes investment change different from the bot profit. You are mostly interested in the investment change because that's the return on investment, and you want your return on investment to be positive, all right? But that's not always the case, all right? Because you can be wrong regarding the market direction. Let's say you expect the price of the base currency, in this case BNB, to go upwards, whereas instead it has moved downwards. And yes, of course, you will be in the negative zone, but with automation, your loss would be limited because the bot is trading for you regardless of the market direction, and it's going to use this profit to offset the negative value change. All right, let's move on. And here's another quick explanation that bots, they make profits for you in the quote currency, like here. That's basic attention token trading to USDT. In this case, the profit for you generated by the bot is in the USDT. Here's RNV, RVN trading to USDT. Here's the ontology trading to BTC. So in this case, the quote currency return is in BTC. So as simple as that. Now it's time to discuss optimal strategies and what are the features that we have developed and implemented to let you achieve highest returns on the sideways and on the uptrend markets, and how we secure your trades. So here's the example of an up market, that's BNB trading to Ethereum. So the bot is looking for low prices to buy and high prices to sell. So it buys low, sells high, buys low, sells high, as simple as that. So not only the bot has managed to accumulate profits for you in the quote currency Ethereum on this rising market, but the value of BNB has also appreciated to Ethereum. So in this case, that's going to be an active investment change, all right? This is your aim, to become an active hodler in this case, because a passive hodler would simply buy cryptocurrency, in this case BNB, and wait for the price to appreciate. in the future. But with automated trading, you let the bot to use BNB to generate extra profits for you, in this case in Ethereum. So assuming that by today the price of BNB has appreciated and the value of Ethereum has also appreciated, your total investment change would be much higher because the bot has managed to make profits in Ethereum. So that means that you are now also affected by the Ethereum price change. And if both currencies have appreciated, that's going to be, if not double, it can be a triple effect, depending on the price appreciation of both currencies. On the sideways market, the idea here is to earn during this stagnation, and the sideways market is basically the period of time when the market is neither moving upwards nor downwards, so it stays somewhere in the neutral zone, somewhere in between. So once again, using automated trading, you allow the bot to make profits for you during this stagnation, because the bot can find these opportunities to buy low and sell high. So while you are staying in the sideways market, basically that means that BNB is in the neutral zone, you are making profits in Ethereum. So in any case, during this stagnation, you will earn profits, whereas those people, traders holding this coin, they would be somewhere in the neutral zone, basically a zero investment return. So here's the example. Assuming that you simply hodl, in this case, Bitcoin Cash, and here's the point of time and price at which, assuming you want to hodl this coin, so that's the price and the point of time when you purchase the coin, Bitcoin Cash, and up to current price, you would be only up by 5%. So your return on investment would be plus 5%, and that's it, all right? Whereas with automated trading, your investment change would be almost 3 times higher, and here you can clearly see the investment change is 14.11%. So that's because of the added value that the bot has managed to accumulate during this sideways market. So here's the perfect example for you to see how automated trading allows you to maximize your returns on this sideways. Once again, if you would simply hodl Bitcoin Cash, and from that point up to current price, you would be only up to 5% of the return on investment. Whereas with automated, that's almost 3 times higher return, 14.11%. And here's the example in case of a falling market, all right? If you would hodl from that point down to current price, in this case that's quantum trading to USDT, you would be down by 6.88%, whereas as you allowed the bot to generate profits for you in the quote currency during this falling market, your investment change is only minus 3%. So that's almost twice less, all right? And with features like trading up, which you've noticed over here, you can achieve even higher returns. So here's how you can do this. Remember, I explained to you that your trading range is defined by the upper limit and lower limit prices. And if you, without a trading up function, which is basically a function which allows your trading range, once again, trading price appreciation. Without the trading up function, your trading range would be, basically, it would be frozen. It would be defined by that level and this level below. But with a trading up function, when the price is moving upwards, your trading range is also following the price appreciation like this. So you see now the higher high, a newly established higher high is over here. So that means that your upper limit price and lower limit price, they will be readjusted automatically and accordingly. So now your trading range is defined by these levels. Imagine that the price again later is going to move upwards and establishes a new higher high. In this case, again, your upper limit price will follow the price appreciation and the lower limit price will also follow. So your trading range is going to be now over here. But assuming later the price will move downwards, so that means it will breach the lower limit price. In this case, the trading range will not follow the price depreciation. So that means that in this zone, the bot won't be able to execute the trades. But if the price then reverts back to the trading range, the bot will continue trading. All right. And once again, if the price then moves again higher, establishes new higher high, in this case your trading range, yes, it will follow the price appreciation. As simple as that. So remember, we had our trading range over here, and now as we have this trading up feature on, our trading range has successfully followed the price appreciation and we are now trading over here. So here's the example. That's NG trading to BTC, and I've executed this bot back in May, so that was 9th of May 2020, and you see that my trading range is now over here at the very top. At the beginning, my trading range was over here. You see? So if I wouldn't have my trailing up feature on, I would get stuck in this area. But as I have my trailing up feature on, as you can clearly see here, the trading range has successfully followed the price appreciation. So that means that I let my bot to trade during the price appreciation. So you see these circles here. I wouldn't have them unless I had my trading up feature on. And that is how I achieve maximize return. I let my bot to follow the price appreciation. So I let the bot to trade for me almost endlessly, all right? Because the trading range is always, it's constantly readjusting with the price. Without a trading up feature, like in the example of IOTA trading to USDT, you see I don't have my trading up feature on, I would get stuck. You see, I got stuck in this area, and when the price has breached the upper limit price and moved higher and it has established a new higher high, you see that there are no trades here, and that's because I didn't have my trading up feature on. If I would have switched on my trading up feature, I would have a higher bot profit, and in this case I would have a higher investment change. As simple as that. So when you go to advanced section here, when you click on trading up, you let the trading range, which is defined once again by the upper limit price and the lower limit price, you let the trading range to follow the price appreciation. And here, if during your trading you forget about what trading up stands for, you can always read about it over here. So here's the perfect explanation of what this is all about. Now let's move on, and here's another crucial topic to understand is what are the sources of trade ideas that we have at Bitsgap. Not every platform offers such a unique concept or like trade ideas. And with recommended strategies that I've already demonstrated to you, And with backtesting, you have two valid and fully optimized sources of trade ideas. Well, with recommended strategies, it's pretty much simple and it's easy to understand. As I explained, the recommendations are based on the monthly returns of some cryptocurrencies, and you are able to choose any of it. With backtesting comes another source of idea. And first of all, let me explain to you what backtesting stands for. I've already started to explain it during when I was talking about the recommended strategies. I already demonstrated that they are based on the backtest results. So backtesting is about taking historic prices and simulating the trade as if we would back at that time. So here is the example of NG trading to BTC, and the period selected here is from the 11th of April to 11th of May. So that's a 30 days period from that point on the chart to that point, current price. So what you can clearly see here is that throughout this period, if we would have initiated the bot exactly at the 11th of April, the bot would have made 34% in BTC, all right? And throughout this period, the price has, first of all, it has appreciated by 66% from that point up to the highest high, and then it has moved downwards, so that was down by minus 34%. So that's, in this case, the risk you take, all right? So the risk for this trade was minus 34%, whereas the appreciation potential was 66%. Another example, BNB trading to BUSD. For the same period, 11th of April to 11th of May, your return would be 13%. All right, so in case of NG, it was 34%. And in case of BNB trading to BUSD, that was only 13%. So from the point of inception to the highest high, we were up by 35%. The price has appreciated by that amount. And then, in this case, the risk was minus 23%. When we take this all together to compare, we will find those cryptocurrencies that are optimal and suitable for your own trading style. So if you are risk averse and you avoid extreme volatility and you are trying to find those cryptocurrencies that have a limited risk, in this case BNB could be an option for you because the downside risk for BNB was only minus 23%. But for that risk, it has only generated 30% in the bot profit. Whereas if you take a higher risk, like in case of the NG, which was 34%, your bot profit is higher, almost by 3 times. Well, to be precise, it is higher by 21% comparing with BNB. So taking higher risk, in this case, you get a higher return. So if you are, once again, risk averse, BNB could be an option for you. And if you are a risk taker and you are ready to take the risk of minus 34%, so if you are ready to see the value of NG falling by 34%, but to have a bot profit of around 34%, then in this case NG could be an option for you. So using backtesting, you can find those cryptocurrencies that offer optimal returns and optimal risk to your strategy, all right? So maybe if you are risk averse, maybe you should compare BNB with other cryptocurrencies that had a pretty much the same bot profit for the same period, but had a lower risk. All right. So here's how you can use backtesting. And to use backtesting, you go to the main page, you go to the advanced section, and as we now have our icon trading to BTC chosen cryptocurrency, we can backtest the results for the icon. Automatically, the system takes, in this case, 3 days result, but if I switch to month, in this case, I click once again on backtesting and I get my monthly return. So if I would initiate the icon trading to BTC back at that time, so at the 2nd of June, so up to current price, the bot would have only generated for me 2.61% in bot profit. So in this case in BTC. So we would be plus by almost 3% in BTC in this case. And maybe we can compare this with other cryptocurrencies. Let's say, so we had what? Icon to BTC. Maybe it makes sense to compare it with other cryptocurrencies that are trading to BTC as well. Maybe ERD trading to BTC. So, sorry, that's BNB. Okay, let it be BNT trading to BTC. We click on show backtesting results, same period, but you say the profit was plus 48%. So if you would initiate the bot back at that time, up to current price, sorry, up to today, you would be up by 48% in the bot profit. So the bot would accumulate this amount of in BTC. So this is how volatility, and in this case bot profit, can vary significantly depending on the chosen cryptocurrency. And once again, this result, it doesn't guarantee that next month you would get the same. It can be that next month the volatility is going to be reduced, and in this case your return would be lower. But annualized return in this case would be plus 600% in the quote currency, in BTC. So the idea is, if you are willing to hodl BNT and you are also willing to accumulate BTC, then trading BNT to BTC can be an option for you, because you are making profits in BTC and making around 50% per month, which is almost 600% if annualized. That's an insane number. And if the BTC value will also appreciate, as many analysts expect by the year of 2025, then imagine your total return on investment of your portfolio. That would be even a higher number. So here's how you use the backtesting to find these cryptocurrencies that can offer optimal returns and optimal risk for a given return. Now let's move on and discuss some other features that we have. So apart from the loss compensation that you get in case of a falling market, like in the example that I already demonstrated to you, you see from that point, once again, from the point of inception down to the current price, you would be, if you would hodl this cryptocurrency, you would be minus 2.7%, whereas with automation you would be only, I'm actually already in the minus zone, so instead of having minus 2.7%, only minus 3.39%, because I have the bot profit to offset this negative value change. So that's the first security that we have here. Another one is that the algorithms that we have implemented in the bots, they allow to spot, not every time, but quite successfully in many cases, they can spot extreme pump and dump scenarios happening on the market. So without automation, without this optimization of spotting extreme pumps and dumps, you would get stuck with quite many buy orders executed at the very highest price. You see here the price was moving upwards, then extreme pump has occurred, and in this case, without optimization, the bot would have executed almost all of its buy limit orders over here at the very highest price, which in this case is not optimal because consequently the price has moved downwards back to its level before the pump. So that means what you've bought here is now in the negative value change. Whereas with the optimization that we have, with this feature to spot extreme pump and dump scenarios, the bot wouldn't follow this price manipulation. So you wouldn't have your buy limit orders executed at the highest price. With optimization that we have, you have a smooth return, and the algorithm is optimized to avoid such extreme volatility scenarios on the market that we call pump and dumps. All right. So that's the second feature of how we secure your trading, and that's fully optimized, automated, and built in the bots that we have. And moreover, we are constantly working on the development of such features so that in the future you would be able to achieve even higher returns and you would have secure trading, more security than today. So that's what we are working on here. Now let's come back to the Bitsgap platform, and I will show you some other examples. Let's say instead of trading Binance, I want to launch the SBot on, let it be KuCoin. Notice that here I have the grid quantity maxed to 100, whereas at Binance I have it up to 180. So that's because technical features, they can significantly vary depending on the chosen cryptocurrency exchange. And different exchanges, they have their own minimum order requirements. So for example, at Binance, in order to initiate a trade, let's say if you want to trade BNB to USDT, if you now go to Binance and you will check what is the minimum order size, so you will see a number which is 10 USDT. So the minimum investment amount for order or one grid level is $10. Whereas in case of other cryptocurrencies, these minimum requirements can be different. And that is why, depending on the chosen cryptocurrency exchange, you will see that the grid quantity range can vary, it can be different, and the grid spacing can be also different. So at HitBTC, minimum grid spacing can be only 0.1%, whereas at Binance it can be down to 0.01%. All right. So at Binance you can achieve, how to say, the most narrow setup as you can, whereas at HitBTC it can only be 0.1%. So let's say you are trading at HitBTC, and let's see what I have. I have BTC, and in this case let's choose recommended strategies. In this case it recommends me NIM trading to BTC, as it has managed to make 156% throughout the last month. So it looks like the price will most likely revert from this resistance level, so I'm not gonna trade this. Maybe I will choose KuCoin, and let's see what is going on with Luna trading to BTC. Okay, so in case of Luna trading to BTC at KuCoin, it looks like a more or less stable sideways market. And now I can clearly see that the price is somewhere in between the support and resistance level. So that can be an option to initiate the bot. Because remember, on the sideways market, our bots are optimized to achieve highest returns comparing with a simple hodling strategy. So I would plot my upper limit price somewhere over here, defined by these spikes. I want to have more grid levels placed within this trading range. So notice that I have a wider buy zone and a narrow sell zone. So that means I must have more of the quote currency and less of the base currency to initiate this bot. So to be precise, that's 15,000 Luna and 0.5 BTC for this setup. If I want to have a total investment of 0.85, I can have it down to maybe 0.2 BTC. So, and in this case, that's a total investment of 1,800. But I want to have my grid spacing reduced because I want to let my bot to execute as many trades as possible throughout this sideways market. I have my trading up feature on, so that means if the price breaches the upper limit price and moves higher, in this case my trading range will follow the price. So I want to make sure that my trading range will follow the price, so that's why I have a trading up feature on. I have here also features like stop loss to have a limited risk. So when I have a stop loss on, that means in case if the market will move downwards, it will breach the lower limit price, it will go lower of the trading range. As soon as it approaches the stop loss and eventually triggers the stop loss, the bot will automatically sell the base currency to the quote. So all of the Luna it has purchased during this falling market, it will sell this Luna to BTC at that price where the stop loss is placed. So that means by that I have a limited risk, because imagine if the price eventually moves even lower. In this case, without this stop loss feature, my return would be even worse. And another feature that we have is a take profit. So with the take profit, I can now set the investment return I am willing to achieve for this given strategy. And let's say I want, for my Luna trading to BTC, I want to achieve a 5% in the investment change. So as soon as the investment change reaches 5%, so here notice LRC trading to USDT, that's 4.28% of the investment change. And as soon as it reaches 5% of the take profit, the bot will automatically sell LRC to USDT and it will be cancelled out. So let's play trade. It is telling me to buy this amount of Luna to initiate the trade. Yes, I will go for this. And here we go. The bot is now here and we can trade. Notice that all of these active bots are on my demo trading account. So that means I'm using this risk-free money to simulate real trading, to test strategies, to show you some real-life examples during the webcast. But for you, using demo trading is the best option to optimize own strategies before trading on the real account. And here I also have my real account trading, and I mean one of my real, and I can easily switch to my real account. And here we go. Here's my BNB trading to USDT. You see, it's now minus 1.75%. So without automation, from that point down to current price, my return would be minus almost 5%, but with automation that's only minus 1.75%. I expect BNB to appreciate from that point. So that means, that is why I've launched this bot. I expect BNB to appreciate, or at least to move in the sideways market, so that I would get my decent returns eventually. Now let's come back to demo mode and let's see what else we can do. So there is no golden rule for you at which time to execute a certain strategy, because depending on your technical analysis and fundamental analysis skills, the price and the time at which you enter the market can be different from my timing. All right. In my case, I'm looking for scenarios on the market. So I'm looking for those cryptocurrencies that are, first of all, are highly liquid. So that means many traders are trading these cryptocurrencies. And by that I can ensure my profit generation. Because when it comes to low liquidity cryptocurrencies, that means that most of the time they just are trading at the same price for a long period of time and nothing is happening. They are basically dead. So I'm interested in only those cryptocurrencies that are in the top 15. They are liquid, they are most tradable, and I'm trading in many cases those cryptocurrencies that I recognize, that I know what is the value that they have, and I'm looking for those market formations. The market is either in the sideways and I expect the price eventually to breach the upper limit price to enter the upside momentum, and in many cases using support and resistance levels, that's basically all you need to find optimal time to initiate the bot. So when you see that the price of a certain cryptocurrency is successfully bouncing off the support level, like in this example you see that's Luna trading to BTC, so here we have our support level defined by the, let me just plot this support level. So that's, in this case, that's the support level, the yellow line. So you see each time it has approached this support, it has eventually bounced off. Approached, bounced off, approached, bounced off. So each time I see a successful bounce off, I enter the trade, all right? But that doesn't mean that's 100% strategy, because sometimes even if you see a bounce off, the price can eventually, even in a split second, once again breach the support and then even go lower. So that's not always the case to use support and resistance levels, and that is why we have this stop loss feature to limit the risk in case if the strategy you are sticking to does not sustain, all right? And what I've noticed is also that quite many cryptocurrencies, they respect the support level, either it's a horizontal or plotted like this support level. You see it bounces off. So it approached this support level, bounced off, approached, bounced off, and from that point also bounced off. So that's up to you. That's up to your technical analysis and fundamental analysis skills to find these optimal cryptocurrencies and market scenarios to enter the trade. The idea of this webcast and what we are doing at Bitsgap is to provide you with as many features and efficient strategies like SBot and ClassicBot to maximize your returns on the sideways and on the uptrend markets. But if the market is falling, even for the falling markets, we have these features to minimize your losses, and I've demonstrated examples. And we have this security to prevent your bot trading during the extreme pump and dump scenarios. All right. So what we are doing here is letting you guys achieve highest returns for a limited level of risk. So that's basically the idea of trading. Highest return, limited level of risk. And we're now implemented to the SBot, which allows you to have a grid spacing down to 0.01%. You can achieve highest returns because with this setup, with such a narrow setup, you let the bot to execute as many trades as possible. So you are basically constantly in the market, and you don't have to stay in front of the computer 24/7. And we have all the features. We calculate the fees, so the profit that you see here is net of all fees. And by the way, you see that we launched the bot 46 minutes ago, and it has already managed to make 71 trades. You see? So we are already up to 0.17%, and the bot has managed to make 1.64 USDT. All right, so that's for the period of only 47 minutes, and that's what we together managed to achieve today. You see all of the completed orders, they are here, and it keeps working for us. It keeps placing these orders to make sure it stays in the market and makes profits for us each time the market moves lower to buy low, and then eventually moves higher to sell high. So we had 72 already, 72 trades throughout the whole webcast. And yeah, so basically that's it. And I hope you enjoyed this webcast, and I hope that the information provided was useful for you, and you've learned your lesson, and you are now execute your own trades. If you are already using Bitsgap, I highly recommend using demo trading to keep testing, to keep working on optimal strategies for you. And for newcomers, that's actually a must feature to use demo trading to make sure that you fully understand the system before trading with your real money. So we have all of the features that newcomers, professionals need to achieve higher returns automatically. And let's see what questions you have. Thanks to Erwin, who is constantly monitoring your questions in the chat and provides you with profound answers. Let's see if there are some questions that I should to answer. Okay, so regarding stable coins where you can plot, where you can execute the SBot, we are still working on the optimization to let you guys trade on the stable coins. And those who attended previous webcasts, I've mentioned many times that basically you can have a passive investment return. And let's for example, at Binance we have what we have TUSD trading to USD. And so the idea is that when we take stable coins trading to each other, we have pretty much a constant, almost endless sideways market. And with the scalper feature, yes, well, in theory, soon you will be able to execute SBot with optimal settings to trade on this passive market. But as of now, we are still working on the optimization. It's not that easy to execute the scalper on such a narrow moving market. You see, the volatility here is so low. You see, it's only like 0.33%, and that is why we are working still on this narrow configuration to let you trade on the stable coins. So don't worry, that's what we are working on, and I hope, and we are working on that you will be soon able to trade on the stable coins. It just requires some time for us to optimize and to configure bots so that they will be able to effectively and in time execute trades on the stable coins. So the questions like, what is the safe minimum deposit? Well, that actually depends on the cryptocurrency exchange that you are using, because as I already mentioned, minimum order requirements can vary significantly. At Binance, that's 10 USD for one trade. So you see, the minimum requirement is to have 10 grid levels, and at Binance each limit order is what? $10. So multiply 10 by a minimum required amount of grid levels. 10 by 10 is going to be $100. So at least your minimum deposit should be $100 in case of Binance. And yeah, but depending on which cryptocurrency exchange you are using, it can be that having $70 can be enough, because their requirements for one trade are lower compared with the Binance. So that depends on the technical specifications of a selected cryptocurrency exchange. Well, my account, one of them, I have currently $600, so that's enough for me to execute bots having grid levels up to 47. Yeah, well, actually 41 grid levels, currently launched with BNB, that's 500 USDT, and I still have some available USDT on my balance, some ION and BNB passively lying in my portfolio. So you see, having $600, that's enough to launch a bot with 41 grid levels. Well, actually I can launch with more grid levels, but yeah, just make sure that you fully understand what are the minimum requirements for the order size depending on the selected exchange, and then follow your plan. If you want to start with $100, then maybe Binance not the best option, but it can be that KuCoin or OKEx can be the choice. Just make sure that their requirements are lower than those that are set at Binance. So as of now, thank you for your attendance. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed this webcast. I promise to you that next time I will once again provide you with more features, with more use cases, tips and clues. And I am also working on the quality improvement. So that's really important for me to get your feedback, and you can always leave your feedback in this chat box of the webcast. You can go to the support, or you can use the Telegram chat that we have to share your ideas, exchange your thoughts, and yeah, just to be in the community. We have a quite strong community of traders, and traders are kind to share their ideas and will most likely answer your questions. So yeah, just be active and exchange your ideas. That is the only way for us to become successful altogether. All right, and we are here working at Bitsgap. We are constantly developing these optimal strategies for you guys to achieve highest returns for a limited level of risk. So once again, thanks. See you next time. Peace, love, and have a nice trading week.